Regular meeting number 29 will come to order. We please stand for the playing of the Pledge Allegiance, our national anthem. Pro Tem Cinziano, would you please lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This evening we are pleased to be joined by Pastor Derek Bass from Serenity Baptist Church. Pastor, thank you for being with us this evening.
Let us pray. Our most gracious and all-wise God, our Heavenly Father, we come before your presence with bowed down heads and a humble heart, realizing and understanding that you are the author and the finisher of our faith. As we come together collectively and in solidarity one with the other, I'm asking now that you would touch each and every council member, that you will allow them, Father God, to be able to make the decisions that need to be made for this city and abroad. Continue to hold them in the hollow of your hand. And if they need the help from you, help them to continue to look up unto the hills from which cometh their help, knowing that all of their help comes from you. So we just want to thank you in advance for what you're going to do, the way you're going to do it, and how you're going to do it in the matchless name of Jesus. Continue to give them that peace that passeth all understanding, and will be sober mindful in all things, to continue to give your name and your name alone the praise. For I ask it all in the matchless name of our Lord and risen Savior I do pray, and for his sake I ask it all. Let every heart say together, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor. Clerk, please call the roll.
Brown, Page, Remy, Stinziano, Tyson, President Harden. Any person who takes any actions to obstruct or interfere with the conduct of tonight's meeting may be charged with disturbing a lawful meeting pursuant to Columbus City Code 2317.12. Any person who enters those areas of City Council chambers reserved for city officials or invited guests may be charged with criminal trespass pursuant to Columbus City Code 2311.21.
Can I get a motion to dispense with the reading of the journal? Clerk, call the roll, please.
Brown, Page, Remy, Stinziano, Tyson, President Harden.
This week's communications received by the City Clerk's office are listed on the agenda and will be published in the City Bulletin. Are there any other communications to be read into the record?
No, at this time.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Are there resolutions by members of council? Councilmember Elizabeth Brown. Councilmember Mitch Brown.
Thank you, President Harden. If I may, could Coach Jason Lewis please come down? Coach, and bring some of the young men with you as well. Resolution 0167X 2018 to recognize and celebrate the Eastmoor Academy Boys Track and Field team on winning the Columbus City Schools High School Boys Track and Field Championship for the 8th consecutive season. Whereas the City of Columbus and members of Columbus City Council are always proud to honor and celebrate the youth in this community as they represent the life and future prosperity of our city. And whereas over the past 8 seasons, Eastmoor Academy has dominated the city schools' boys track and field championships. In 2018, they topped Afrocentric High School to win the title. And whereas the Eastmoor Warriors scored in almost every event in the meet, However, the performances of their distance runners gave them the advantage over their competitors, and whereas the Eastmoor Academy boys track and field team, under the leadership of Jason Lewis and support of their parents, teachers, administrators, and others cheering and encouraging their development, successfully engaged in and won the 2018 Columbus City Schools Boys Track and Field Championship. Whereas in addition to winning the city championship, Eastmoor Academy's 3,200-meter relay team broke the 36-year-old record with a time of 8 minutes and 1 second. Now, therefore, be resolved by the Council of the City of Columbus that this council does hereby honor and recognize and celebrate the Eastmoor Academy Boys Track and Field Team on winning 2018 Columbus City Schools Boys Track and Field Championship. I move for adoption.
Please call the roll.
Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Adopted.
Any comments from my colleagues? Coach Lewis, the floor is yours, sir.
Thank you, members of the council. Thank you for having us here today. And I am privileged to stand as the coach of these young men, who I'm going to allow to announce their names and their grade levels. It is an honor to represent Eastmoor Academy. It is also an honor to represent the city of Columbus as a teacher and a coach. Thank you all for honoring them. They have worked very hard, and I feel it is well-deserved. So kudos to you all for acknowledging them. And I'm going to have them come up and just say their names with grade levels and the events that they competed in. And two of the young men, I'm most proud of that relay record that they set. Both of those two young men are here today. All three of the four are seniors and will be running collegiately, 2 at Central State and 1 at Eastern Michigan.
Hello, I'm Richard Wright. I'm a graduate of Eastmoor Academy High School and will be attending Central State University.
All right. Congratulations.
I'm running the 4x2 and 4x1 in 200.
My name is Sean Hathorne II. I graduated this year from Eastmoor. I ran the 4x8, the open 8, and the 4x4.
My name is Roshan Harper. I'm in the 11th grade, and I ran the 4x2, the open 400, and the 4x4.
Congratulations.
My name is Christopher Chandler. I'm a graduate of Eastmoor Academy. I ran the 2 mile, the 4x8, and the mile this year.
Councilwoman Tyson.
Thank you, Councilman Brown. And certainly as a Eastmoor graduate, I certainly want to, again, just commend you, commend the coach, but also to commend your parents, as well as, all of your instructors. I know that Eastmoor just had a graduation this past weekend. I see one of the school board members here, Shauna Gibbs, is in council chambers this evening, but certainly it's such a major accomplishment to be able to reach success and to be at the championship level. It takes a lot of hard work. Continue with that. Continue with the same amount of work that you put in to be able to, one, to graduate. And for those who are graduating, the ones who are in 11th grade, continue to keep that same momentum moving forward. And lastly, I just want to, some of your track stars coming in here, but just really and continue to do it academically and use those same skills that got you to the championship to continue to move you forward. And just congratulations, Coach, and again to all the administrators of Eastmoor Academy. Congratulations. Thank you, Councilman Brown.
You two, they want you to say your names and what.
They didn't come in last in the meet, did they?
Yeah. All of these men were city champions in different events.
There you go.
My name is Kylan Birchmore. I ran a 4x1, did a long jump.
My name is Wesley Prater. I'm a senior, and I did a 4x4, open 4, and 4x2.
Thank you all.
Coach.
President Harden, also, I'd like to remove Resolution 0178X 2018, proclaiming the first Friday in June as National Gun Violence Awareness Day from the consent agenda.
Please.
Whereas every day, 96 Americans are killed by gun violence, and on an average, there are nearly 13,000 gun homicides every year. Whereas Americans are 25 times more likely to be killed with guns than people in other developed countries, and whereas protecting public safety in the communities they serve is council members' highest responsibility, and whereas support for the Second Amendment rights of law-abiding citizens goes hand in hand with keeping guns away from dangerous people, whereas council members and law enforcement officers know their communities best and are most familiar with the local criminal activity and how to address it, and are best positioned to understand how to keep their citizens safe. Whereas in January 2013, Hadia Pendleton, a teenager who marched with President Obama's second inaugural parade and was tragically shot and killed just weeks later, she now would be celebrating her 21st birthday. Whereas we help honor Hadia and the 96 Americans whose lives are cut short and the countless survivors who are injured by shootings every day, a national coalition of organizations have designated June 1st, 2018, the first Friday in June as National Gun Violence Awareness Day. Whereas the idea was inspired by a group of Hadia's friends who asked their classmates to commemorate her life by wearing orange, they chose this color because hunters wear orange to announce themselves to other hunters when in the woods, and orange is a color that symbolizes the value of human life. And whereas anyone can join the campaign by pledging to wear orange on June 1st, the first Friday in June in 2018, to help raise awareness about gun violence. By wearing orange on June 1st, Americans will raise awareness about gun violence and honor the lives of those, the gun violence victims and survivors. Now and therefore be it resolved by the Council of the City of Columbus that the first Friday of June 2018 be declared National Gun Violence Awareness Day. This council also encourages each citizen to support their local communities' efforts to prevent tragic effects of gun violence, honoring and valuing human life. On this past Friday, June 1st, City Hall was illuminated in orange lights to commemorate National Gun Violence Awareness Day. In 2017, there was a new record set of 2,750 firearms submitted to our Columbus Police Property Room. The previous record was in 2012, where 2,667 firearms were submitted. From January through the end of May of this year, 1,077 firearms have been submitted to the property room, down from 1,277 during the same time period last year. These statistics further justify the need for passage of Ordinance 1116-2018 last month, reenacting our city's weapons code and the creation of 2 new weapons violations for possessing weapons or under disabilities and unlawful possession of firearms. If there are no comments, I move for adoption.
Please call the roll.
Brown, Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Adopted.
Thank you, President Harden. That's all I have this evening.
Thank you for your leadership, Councilmember. Councilmember Remy.
Thank you, Council President Harden. I'd like to invite George Schmidt to the podium as I introduce Resolution 0179X 2018 to recognize and celebrate Flag Day on Thursday, June 14, 2018. National Flag Day commemorates the adoption of the official flag of the United States. This adoption occurred on June 14, 1777 by resolution of the Second Continental Congress. By 1916, the President of the United States issued a proclamation that officially established June 14th as Flag Day. By August of 1949, National Flag Day was established by an act of Congress. In recognition of this occasion, the Northland Area Business Association and the 161 Task Force has organized and will be hosting a 2018 Flag Day celebration at Columbus Square, located in North Columbus at the intersections of Cleveland and 161. The Flag Day event is family-friendly, with the Northland High School band leading the crowd in the singing of the national anthem and the Pledge of Allegiance. the North Branch of the YMCA providing family games, and the kickoff of the Taste of 161 restaurant passport to promote the international flavor of the East Dublin Granville Road eateries. George, I'd like to offer you the floor to talk about this important resolution.
Thank you so much, President Hart and members of council and the whole city of Columbus. We have been about the business of rebranding the northern area. So this is exciting. I know even before I was involved as the chair, the city attorney's office was helping us close down the hotels in 71 and 161. And so we've been busy trying to pick up good business for those hotels. Now we've taken them down, now they're reopening, and they're the best value hotels, I think, in the state of Ohio. They're watched closely because of what you folks have done, health department, city police, and so I think they're a good value. But we want to look at the whole corridor, and it's so important. It's called Dublin Grandview, and it's Worthington and Westerville and New Albany. Look, come off that intersection, 10,000 cars a day go down there, and the way 161 looks is the way a lot of people think about the Northland area, and we made great strides. And so it costs $1,360 every time we get the grass cut. Businesses have been pitching in to get it cut. So I think right off the bat there had to be four pillars: the residents, businesses, landlords, and government. And we've been trying to build those up. Now you gave me $15,000, gave 61 Task Force $15,000 a few months ago. What that really helps us do, we did a website, we're doing this Flag Day celebration and the Taste of 161, trying to get diversity of the restaurants. And we are getting able to find out who the landlords are, what their names are, not just a management company. So we can talk to them about doing on Morse, get on 161, we do on Morse Road, get them more sustainable. With the residents, we're averaging 40 people at our cleanups. You can imagine that. Every 5 weeks we have a cleanup. People go out, they pick up the trash, businesses join us. When I started, we had 8 businesses that had done something. Now we have 92 businesses. There's 478 businesses on 161. If every business hires one person, that's 478 new jobs in the city of Columbus. And they all, are starting to make hay. And the city has been very helpful. The residents very helpful. We've got the businesses getting on board, and now the landlords are coming along. Flag Day. There's going to be 500 flags going down the corridor in front of the businesses. We have 22 landscape boxes taken care of by residents that are planted with flowers. There's going to be 7 flags in each of those 22 landscape boxes. The businesses are participating in a flag display. The winner gets a $250 gift card. And we're having the Taste of 161. This little passport, it's restaurants. There's 54 restaurants on 161. We have 24 participating in this little passport. If you go to the restaurant, each restaurant's going to have a sticker. You eat there, you get a sticker. You fill up this book, we'll give you a $25 gift card at the end of the year. We're encouraging people to come to our restaurants. And there's every kind of restaurant you can think of, Vietnamese, Somali, you name it. And so we're trying to encourage people to come, see 161 on Flag Day. The Flag Day event at Columbus Square, we're going to have the Northland High School Band, and we're going to have, am I going overtime? No. We're going to have, the flag lady's going to put 40 flags out. It's the history of the flag, from Betsy Ross to the today flag, with education on how the flag evolved. Yeah. We're going to have the YMCA is going to have family games. We have food where restaurants are going to give out food. And it's going to be more of a not real formal program. This come at 6 o'clock is when we're going to have the singing of the national anthem, Pledge of Allegiance, and we're going to welcome anyone in the northern area who has become a U.S. citizen in the last 2 years. So I hope you all come June 14th, that's Flag Day. And thank you very much for your support, because I take what you've done back to businesses and I say, look what the city did, more than $15, I got your backing, I got your support, Nate, and I can say that. And I say, look, the city's interested, city's there with you, so I'm using you. Thank you very much.
Hold on. One moment, please. One moment. Thank you, George. Obviously, you can see Mr. Schmidt's enthusiasm, and it's exciting, all the things that are going up in the 161 area. Are there any questions or comments from my colleagues this evening?
You can sponsor a flag for $30.
Seeing none, I move for passage.
Please call the row.
Brown, Page, Remy Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Adopted.
Thank you.
And that's all I have this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Remy. Councilmember Page. President Pro Tem Stenziano.
Thank you, President Harden. At this time, I'd like to invite Diba Uwande, owner and publisher of New Americans Magazine, and Carla Mello, Youth Career Exploration Specialist at COSI, along with a number of other guests. So look at them waving them up. As I introduce Resolution 0170X-2018 to recognize and celebrate the month of June 2018 as Immigrant Heritage Month. As we know, immigration has been an integral component of the growth and success of the United States of America, the state of Ohio, and the city of Columbus. And as a city, we have a strong history of welcoming people from all over the world who contribute to the economic success and prosperity of the city of Columbus through robust business ownership, spending power, and significant contributions in state and local tax dollars. Our immigrant population are making important contributions across all industries, sectors, and trades in the city of Columbus and continue to contribute to the cultural richness of our community by offering and sharing diverse languages, foods, and traditions. We appreciate always being recognized nationally as such a welcoming and inclusive city because of the deep commitment that exists to improving the quality of life and providing equal opportunities for all residents. And we see a number of those community leaders here today. So it's my honor to present this resolution as recognition for this contribution to the Columbus community and offer the floor to hear you. Before I offer you the floor, I'll move for adoption.
Please call the row.
Brown, Page, Remy Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Adopted.
And with that, I'll turn it over to Carla and appreciate you all being here again for your leadership across the city.
Thank you, Chair President Pro Tem Stenziano, President Harden, and the members of City Council. I'm Carla Mello, Youth Career Exploration Specialist at the Center of Science and Industry, COSI. I'm born and raised in Brazil, and I lived in Chile for 6 years before I moved here in 2012. My husband was offered a position as professor in the Ohio State University. And I embraced this as an opportunity for personal and professional growth. I'm happy to say that Columbus embraced me back. Through new friendships and new ways to connect with people, COSI became my home. COSI is also a big part of it. I can proudly say I'm part of a team whose vision is to engage, inspire, and transform lives and communities through science, technology, and industry learning. From these team's efforts and wonderful partnerships, we are able to offer incredible experiences like COSI Academy, the career exploration program I lead to inspire high school students in pursuing STEM careers. We also offer amazing events, and we are extremely excited about the recently announced COSI Science Festival. I'm proud that one of COSI core commitments is to welcome all people to explore natural phenomena, scientific concepts, and current topics in science and technology through experiences that are accessible to diverse learners. We hope to make COSI a place where individuals, communities, organizations, and industries can convene and connect around these issues. I'm happy to announce that we are planning an event to acknowledge and celebrate Immigrant Heritage Month during the last week of June. We are hoping to create a deeper connection with new Americans, initiating a stronger dialogue to guide our efforts and assure COSI is indeed a place for all. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair Pro Tem, President Pro Tem Stenziano, President Hardin, and the members of City Council. My name is Deba Uwadia, and I'm the publisher of the New Americans magazine, a monthly general interest magazine. And I'm also the author of The Immigrant on Columbus Way, Notes on Early Life and America and Citizenship. It is basically a guide to new immigrants on how to settle down easily to life in America. I came with my family, wife and 3 children to Columbus, Ohio in June 2011. On the United States Diversity Visa Lottery from Lagos, Nigeria, based on the advice of my friend who told me that Columbus is one of the best cities to raise kids and family. And truly to it, Our son, who was 15 years old at that time when we came, attended the Ohio State University and graduated just last month, and he attended with full scholarship. And our daughter, who was 14 that very day we came, is going to be senior at the University of Akron, and she's also the chair of diversity at the Student Union Government. The month of June means a lot to us because that is the month that we came. And I'm really grateful that the City Council is adopting the month as the Immigrant Heritage Month. And on behalf of immigrants to the City of Columbus, I want to say a very big thank you to the city and to the City Council. Thank you very much.
Are there any questions or comments from my colleagues? I do want to thank Director William Scott in the Department of Neighborhoods and both of you for your leadership in helping get this resolution together. And again, congratulations. I think we're very proud, and I know we see a lot of faces that we see often. So thank you for being here, and again, congratulations on such an important month.
Councilmember Tyson.
Thank you. I have resolution number 0174X-2018, and I'm going to ask Teresa Langer and Kathy Spatz and all the individuals who are here for the Leadership Development Organization in the Columbus chapter of the NMA. This resolution is to recognize the week of June the 4th through the 8th as a Leadership Week in Columbus and commend the Columbus Public Service Chapter of NMA, the Leadership Development Organization, on their 40th anniversary for their leadership efforts in support of this observance in Columbus. Whereas June the 4th through the 8th of 2018, again, is the 40th annual observance of Leadership Week in America by NMA, the largest nonprofit organization of its type, a professional organization dedicated to leadership, business excellence, personal and professional growth, and fellowship to more than 13,000 members. Whereas the City of Columbus recognizes the importance that the exchange of ideas and discussion of leadership challenges and solutions have on the vitality of the community's economy and the quality of life through increased productivity, competition, and growth. And whereas the Columbus Public Service Chapter is a public sector chapter of NMA whose members strive to uphold the principles of the organization through lifelong learning, leadership development, and skills training, networking, and mentoring. And whereas the International Observance of Leadership Week will encourage leaders to increase their competence, inspire peers, and foster better understanding of management and professional leadership. Now therefore be it resolved by the Council of the City of, now therefore NMA will use its National Convention, as a forum to highlight and promote leadership as a viable and thriving profession. Be it resolved by the Council of the City of Columbus, this council does hereby recognize the week of June 4th through the 8th of 2018 as NMA Leadership Week in Columbus and commend the Columbus Public Service Chapter of NMA for their efforts in leadership and support of the City of Columbus. I move for adoption.
Please call the roll.
Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Adopted.
Thank you. Teresa, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Councilmember Tyson, and good afternoon, President Harden, council members, and elected officials. On behalf of the Columbus Public Service Chapter number 220 of the National Management Association, I want to thank you for this recognition and your continued support of our organization. As I stand before you as a third-time president, outgoing, I can honestly tell you that the benefits of this organization are many. From working on every committee and holding every position, and also as being a proud union member holding every position up to and including president of CWA Local 4502, I can attribute my personal and professional successes to the National Management Association. So again, I thank you all for your continued support, and I want to introduce those that are with me tonight because they have their own story to tell as well. Thank you. Oh, well, let's start with.
Hi, I'm Bea Tober. I'm the Vice President. And I just want to thank you all because we do value your support and we take it to heart. It means a lot to us and our organization, and we're here striving to represent the city and doing the best that we can do. I run a speech contest each year, and I tell you that's a national thing that we do, and we've come out with winners. And I just want to tell you that we often beat that place up north, and we're going to continue to strive to do that, but we're putting us on the map. So thank you all.
My name is Terrell Spencer with the Department of Finance. I'd like to thank the council for your undying support, and I'd like to encourage you to continue that support. As Bea and as Teresa has mentioned, the benefits of the National Management Association are many. The majority of us have been involved for a number of years, and the skills, techniques, education, training that we've received, the city has gained a great benefit from it, as well as ourselves personally. So again, thank you for your support and your continued support.
Hello, I'm Cassa Ritchie, and I represent the Economic Development Department. And again, I'd just like to thank all of you for your continued support, and it's really helping the organization for networking and just getting to know all the city employees. And, you know, we have monthly meetings, which are astounding with great representation and speakers. So again, I just want to thank you for your support.
Julia Carter, Department of Neighborhoods, and I just want to again thank you for your support.
Renee Hudson, surveying for Columbus Police. I just want to thank you for your support. We've had a couple of you at our meetings, and we really appreciate you there. And I do the magazine for us, our newsletter for us. So just thank you for your support, and we look forward to more support. Thank you.
Yvette Kelly Aniagalu, Department of Development. I'm a board member. Thank you for your support and also for recognizing NMA Leadership Week.
I want to take this opportunity to introduce Kathy Spatz. She's not only our national director, she is the chair of the whole board of the National Management Association across the United States. So that's a very, very prestigious position. So we're thankful for Kathy, and please come say a few words.
Thanks, Teresa. As you said, I have the opportunity to not only serve our chapter, but also nationally. And we continue to learn and grow through collaboration. And I just wanted to share with you one of those initiatives that we're doing nationally this year is reaching out to several different municipalities and government agencies, because we know it works here, and we know it's a little bit different message than you may have with some of the large corporations of NMA, like Lockheed Martin or into Boeing. There are chapters with, say, the North Carolina state chapter, as well as with the Department of Energy. So with the diversity of that, we sort of cross over into a lot of different arenas. So we're taking the model that Columbus has used and one that works for us, that collaboration, that mentorship, and that networking, to go into other local communities, especially, and say, we know the benefit, we know the educational opportunities, and we know how we've been able to reach out to our community and make a difference. We'd love to help you be able to do the same. And so it's really kind of exciting to be at the forefront of that, to be able to grow our 10,000 member organization that much further, at the same time trying to make a difference every day. So thank you for your continued support in what we're doing so that we can help the rest of the nation make a difference. Thank you.
Don't walk away. I'm going to give you your resolutions. Again, I just want to say thank you. I'm glad each of you had an opportunity to speak. And thank you for what you do for us each and every day in the city of Columbus, and also taking the trainings and the other classes of leadership to make our city a better place. So again, thank you. I appreciate you going above and beyond to ensure that the residents of our city get the very best service. Thank you and congratulations.
Thank you, Councilmember Tyson. Now it's my honor to ask to come forward the dignified, the dynamic, the dazzling women of Delta Theta Sigma to come forward, please. Sorority. This evening I have Resolution 169X-2018 to recognize and congratulate Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Columbus, Ohio Alumni Chapter and President Ms. Deborah R. Pickens for their program, Spirited Sisters, Taking It to the Streets. Delta Sigma Theta Sorority was founded in 1913 by 22 collegiate women at Howard University. Since its founding, more than 200,000 women have joined the sisterhood of predominantly Black, college-educated women. Our local Deltas put together the Spirited Sisters Taking It to the Streets, a spiritual journey program which addresses physical and mental health challenges among women. This spiritual ministry and mentorship opportunity engaged 129 women, a great many of whom are currently in the Alvis and Amethyst programs. This resolution is truly just to say thank you for the work that you're doing in our community, especially with our young women. It is having a huge difference, and we look to you and appreciate you for your leadership and your engagement and the work that you do in each corner of our community throughout our neighborhoods. Do any of my colleagues have any questions? Any comments? I see there are so many amazing Deltas that I see before me. Like Councilmember Tyson said, we have relationship with and engage with daily. With Ms. Pickens, I'll let you speak, and then we'll pass the resolution after.
Thank you, President Harden, and thank you to the entire council for recognizing us here today and welcoming us to your chambers. I want to especially give an appreciation to Councilwoman Priscilla Tyson for joining us at our Delta Gems Etiquette Brunch in January for National Mentoring Month. We appreciate you. Many of you know about the work of Delta, but some of you may not. So I want to just spend a few minutes telling you what we do in the city of Columbus. Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated is a nonprofit public service organization. The Columbus chapter is one of over 1,000 chapters from around the world. We serve the Columbus community under a 5-point programmatic thrust. Educational development includes conducting read-ins at Hamilton Elementary School. We serve over 100 young men and ladies in our youth programming each month. We also offer over $20,000 in scholarships to high school seniors each and every year. We host cultural events that educate the community on African Americans in the field of arts, including film and poetry. Under economic development, the chapter focuses on financial literacy, as well as home ownership. And this year, we've partnered with the Dress for Success organization to really help them drive their mission to support women finding financial independence. Under the International Awareness and Involvement thrust, we expand our work beyond the borders of the United States. This year, the chapter collected over 608 pairs of shoes for Sierra Leone. We partnered with Faith Ministries in doing that. We also collected over 100 shoe boxes for Operation Christmas Child, which is part of Samaritan Purse. And these shoe boxes are filled with toys, clothing, hygiene products that also are being sent to children in third world countries. Through the physical and mental health thrust, the chapter raises awareness and, more importantly, dollars to support research for health issues that disproportionately impact the African American community, like diabetes, heart disease, and cancer. Finally, the chapter advocates for public policy changes. We conduct voter registration drives as well as voter education. And we host Delta Days at the state's capitol this year with the House of Representatives. It is under the physical and mental health thrust that the Spirited Sisters Taking It to the Streets was born. And so I want at this time to introduce the chaplain of our chapter, Sally Gibson, to share with you more about the event.
Thank you, Madam President, and to our dynamic President Hart. Thank you so much, and the rest of the council members. I bring you also greetings from Congresswoman Joyce Beatty, who is a member of our illustrious sisterhood. This is her home chapter. And her voice has been very powerful in the message that we wanted to carry forth in this community, being hands-on. But it didn't only start there. It started with Regina Harper, who is past regional director for the Midwest. That covered 134 chapters and 8 states. Her voice for domestic violence joined ours, and I'm also a member or president of Women to Women, who you know have been working hard for children who are being human trafficked in our city. And as well as Deborah, our president, who you heard from. Having that spirit to go on and to reach beyond what we do beyond our programmatic thrust, but to bring a way to reach these people who are having struggles in our community with drug addiction, human trafficking, abandonment, and other issues that so many of the women face. They became the voiceless. We lent our voice to these women, and we are so grateful for the opportunity to do so, and the opportunity that Denise Robinson, our member, also brought forth by partnering with us. We have more work to do with these ladies and more ladies like this, as we are only a step away ourselves from realizing what it is. So we are just blessed to have you honor our Spirited Sisters, and you will hear more about us as our president brings forth an invitation for you to partner with us as well. Denise.
Thank you, President Hardin, members of council. I just want to thank my sorority first, because without them working with our women, as you know, the opiate addiction that is ravaging our city, we always need as much help as possible. And these ladies behind me, as well as tons more that's not here, has been very helpful in that process. And for our women to be able to lean on them has been something that I wish you all could see and witness, because it was an amazing event. But secondly, it didn't just stop at an event, and I don't believe it'll ever stop, because these ladies behind me, and that always I want to follow these ladies because they're amazing people. But our president, Deborah Pickens, and our Midwest Regional Director, Regina Harper. We keep picking on you, huh? but they actually, after that, they hosted our women for a Mother's Day brunch. And they're still talking about that brunch. And then Sally Gibson, of course, was with Women to Women, has been very helpful with our women. But from Alvis to you all, thank you so much for the resolution. And I want to just thank my home chapter so much. Thank you.
It really is neat to know and to work with almost each and every one of you individually and see how tall that you are as individuals. But when you come together under Delta, it really shows in the opportunity to move this community. Thank you so much for the work that you're doing. It really is having an amazing impact. May I get a motion? But please call the roll.
Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Hardin.
Adopted. The only other thing that I have, I was notified that Sam is here. He's a local Boy Scout, and he's joining us this evening to witness public debate. Sam is up in the balcony. Sam, would you stand up, and can we all just wave at Sam? If he witnessed good debate, he will earn his communications badge from the Boy Scouts. So we will do our best, Sam. Are there any other comments by elected officials or members, Madam Auditor, City Attorney? I see that Commissioner Harper is here from the Greater South Area Commission. Do you have any comments, Commissioner? Sure. He's on non-agenda. He can find now. Welcome, Commissioner Harper.
Thank you. President Hardin, Pro Tem Cinziano. First of all, I wanted to thank you guys for last week for coming out to the first City Council community meeting at the Far East Pride Center. I know everyone I talked to, including members of my commission, were really thankful for that involvement on our area being the first. I know I could probably speak for Far East as well as being thankful for that. Going along with that, that kind of engagement that we had last week, I know my area commission would like to see more of. I'm sure Far East would too. We're kind of looking for more engagement specifically from City Council on that side of town. I know my area, we have a lot of farmland. We're going to be heavy in development and infrastructure changes and things of that sort. And having that kind of involvement from City Council on a continuous basis would be really grateful. Another thing I did this Saturday, and I'm thankful for the police department, is I participated in a ride-along in our 20th precinct to get some more intertwining knowledge of our geography and things that our officers in our precinct are dealing with on a day-to-day basis. It was truly an eye-opening experience, and I'm thankful for that. I got partnered with Officer David Heiser, and he was a real blessing on, just treating me as another officer. The whole 20th precinct was very welcoming, and Sergeant Edelsberg was great too. So if those commendations could be passed along by the Department of Public Safety, that would be greatly appreciated. And with that, I would urge everyone, if you can participate in a ride-along, and passing this along to the mayor as well. I think it's a really great opportunity. I've lived in that area for about a decade now, and even I learned a lot about specific areas within our community on dealing with some issues that I hope that I can work going forward with City Council as well. Other than that, I think I'm good.
Thank you, Commissioner Harper. It was a pleasure to be out at one of our council community meetings. Thank you to the Department of Neighborhoods and everyone who helped put that on. Thank you. Are there any requests by members of council for the removal of ordinance or resolution from the consent action portion of the agenda? Seeing none, may we now have a motion to waive reading of the titles of 30-day legislation by the city clerk? Please call the roll.
Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Thank you. Will the clerk now read into the record the ordinance of number of 30-day legislation on tonight's agenda for first reading?
Finance Committee, Ordinance 1251, 1252, 1257, 1346, 1408, 1419, and 1476-2018. Recreation and Parks Committee, Ordinance 1102-2018. Public Service and Transportation Committee, Ordinances 1150, 1362, and 1430-2018. Technology Committee, Ordinance 1366-2018. Public Utilities Committee, Ordinances 1167, 1249, 1259, 1372, and 1374-2018. Health and Human Services Committee, Ordinance 1518-2018. Rules and Reference Committee, Ordinance 1516-2018. Zoning Committee, Ordinances 1439, 1440, 1441, 1442, 1443, and 1444-2018.
The following ordinances appear on our agenda as consent actions. Will the clerk now read those ordinance numbers into the record?
Resolutions of expression 177X-2018, 164X, 171X, 172X, 163X, and 175X-2018. Finance Committee, Ordinances 1164, 1229, 1254, 1407, 1413-2018. Recreation and Parks Committee, Ordinances 1088, 1278, 1280, and 1283-2018. Public Safety Committee, Ordinance 1422-2018. Public Service and Transportation Committee, Resolution 125X-2018. Ordinances 1298, 1364, 1365, 1371, 1373, 1435, and 1474-2018. Administration Committee, Ordinance 1409-2018. Economic Development and Small Business Committee, Resolution 161X-2018. Ordinances 1404, 1535, 1536, 1541, and 1544-2018. Housing Committee, Ordinance 1356, 1357, 1406, and 1424-2018. Neighborhoods Committee, Ordinance 1434-2018. Technology Committee, Ordinances 1293, 1377, 2018. Public Utilities Committee, Ordinances 403, 1158, 1209, 1219, 1245, 1263, and 1294-2018. Health and Human Services Committee, Ordinance 1358-2018. Rules and Reference Committee, Ordinance 1547-2018. And appointments from the Mayor's Office numbered A0139, 140, 141, 142, 143, 145, 146, 147, and 148-2018.
We have one speaker on the consent agenda, Mr. Nathaniel Wilkins. Mr. Wilkins, welcome back to council. I think you are speaking on Ordinance 1356, which is in the Housing Committee.
Arlington Avenue, Mr. Nathaniel George Wilkins, Chairman, Vacant Property in North London area. I'm going to say why I'm against this is because I do believe, first of all, I'm against 1356, 2018 of 1832 Minnesota Avenue. I guess it was holding a land bank. I need to know how long that this property been in the land bank. And the reason why I'm against this, there's other property in Linden that has been collected for decades and time after time again that I come down here. Just to remind you of these addresses that has been collected for one is 1584, 1586 on Arlington Avenue. So, you know, the property that sits like this doesn't get attention to the city at all, but come to find out with 1832 Minnesota Avenue, you know, I just want to know why this property and what will be done with it. I'd just like to know. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wilkins. Director, you don't have any additional information on that specific piece. Could you follow up with Mr. Wilkins and let council know of any actions? May I have a motion for approval of these items designated as consent action? Is there a second? Please call the roll.
Ms. Brown? Mr. Brown? Yes. Page? Yes. Remy? Yes. Stenziano? Yes. Tyson?
Yes, with the exception of 1358-2018, on which I am abstaining.
President Harden?
Yes. Consent agenda items are passed with the noted exceptions. Thank you. We will now proceed with the second reading of 30-day tabled and emergency legislation. The first committee to come before council is the Finance Committee. Councilmember Brown, the floor is yours.
Thank you, President Harden. Tonight in Finance, we have one ordinance on second reading, Ordinance 1446-2018, to authorize the Finance and Management Director to enter into a universal term contract for the option to purchase sodium chloride with Cargill Incorporated, to authorize the expenditure of $1 from the general fund, to waive the provisions of competitive bidding, and to declare an emergency. This ordinance authorizes the purchase of high-purity salt to be used at the Dublin Road water plant as an ion exchange agent to prevent high levels of nitrate in the water during heavy rain events. The estimated spend for this contract is $360,000 over the next year. Competitive bidding is being waived. Director Lombardi, do you have anything to add to please explain why we're waiving competitive bidding in this ordinance?
Sure. Thank you, President Harden, Chairperson Brown, other members of council. As you indicated, this product is used in our water treatment process as part of the upgrade at the Dublin Road Water Plant, the ion exchange system. The purchasing office on 4 different occasions put this out for formal bid requests. Each one came back with no bids on it. As we began to look at the reasons for that, there were various reasons within the specifications that we felt we were not getting bids, so we do need the supply of the bid of the product. Cargill was using it during the testing period, so we are using a product, not the product that we would prefer. And so we are working with the Department of Public Utilities to develop specifications so that we could get competitive bids the next time around. So we had to negotiate a contract with Cargill for a year. There will be no renewals of this contract. And that'll give us enough time and effort to put together a specification that can get competitive bids.
Okay. Thank you, Director. Any questions from my colleague? Seeing none, I move for passage.
Second.
Brown, Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Passed.
That is all I have in my committees, President.
Thank you, Chair Brown. The next committee to come before council is the Public Service and Transportation Committee. Councilmember Emmanuel Remy chairs that committee. Councilmember, the floor is yours.
Thank you, President Harden. Tonight I have ordinance number 1266, 2018, to amend the 2018 capital improvements budget to transfer funds within the Streets and Highways Fund, Bond Fund, to authorize the City Attorney's Office Real Estate Division to hire professional services and to negotiate with property owners to acquire the various property rights necessary to complete the pedestrian safety improvements, safe routes to school, sidewalks, McGuffey and Duxbury project, to authorize the expenditure of up to $50,000 from the Streets and Highway Bond Fund, and to declare an emergency. The purpose of this project is to construct sidewalk installation along both sides of Duxbury Avenue from Lexington Avenue to Hamilton Avenue by completing the sidewalk where there are gaps in the existing sidewalk network. Also, the same will be performed along both sides of McGuffey Road from Duxbury to the terminus of the existing sidewalk, just north of Clinton Street. Are there any questions from my colleagues this evening? Seeing none, I move for passage.
Please call the roll.
Brown, Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Passed.
Our next ordinance is ordinance number 1279, 2018, to authorize the Chief Innovation Officer to execute a not-for-profit service contract with the Columbus Partnership relative to the implementation of the Smart Columbus Electrification Plan, to authorize the expenditure of $1,508,359 from the Smart City Private Grant Fund, and to declare an emergency. Are there any questions or comments from my colleagues? Seeing none, I move for passage.
Please call the roll.
Brown, Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Passed.
And our final ordinance on public safety, public service this evening is ordinance number 1425, 2018, to amend the 2018 capital improvements budget to authorize the Director of Public Service to enter into a contract modification with Complete General Construction in connection with the Glick Road Bridge repairs project, to waive the competitive bidding provisions of the City Code, to authorize a transfer and expenditure of up to $80,000 from the Department of Public Utilities, Division of Water General Obligations Voted Bonds Fund, and to declare an emergency. Are there any questions or comments from my colleagues? Seeing none, I move for passage.
Please call the roll.
Brown, Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Passed.
Thank you. That's all I have tonight in public service.
Thank you, Chair Remy. The next committee to come before council is the Public Utilities Committee. President Pro Tem Stenziano chairs that committee. Councilmember, the floor is yours.
Thank you, President Harden. Tonight in Public Utilities, bring forward Ordinance 1305-2018 to authorize the Director of Public Utilities to enter into a construction contract with George A. Igo and Company for the Rothbourne Avenue Stormwater System Improvements Project, to authorize the appropriation and transfer of $1,371,159.53 from the Storm Sewer Reserve Fund to the Ohio Water Development Loan Fund, to authorize the expenditure of $1,371,159.53 from the Ohio Water Development Loan Fund, and to amend the 2018 capital improvement budget. This project has been approved for below-market rate loan financing through the Ohio Environmental Protection Agency's Water Pollution Control Loan Fund, which is administered by the Ohio Water Development Authority. While the stormwater system improvements will mitigate street flooding and yard flooding, this will help improve the quality of life in the neighborhood. If there are no questions or comments from my colleagues, I move for passage.
Please call the row.
Brown, Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Pass.
That's all we have in public utilities this evening.
Thank you, Chair Stenziano. The final committee to come before council is the Health and Human Services Committee. This committee is chaired by Councilmember Tyson. Councilmember, the floor is yours.
Thank you. The first ordinance I have is 1367-2018. It's to authorize and direct the Board of Health to accept a grant from the Ohio Department of Health for the Moms Quit for Two grant program in the amount of $117,420, and to authorize the appropriation of $117,420 to the Health Department and the Health Department's Grants Fund, and to declare an emergency. Smoking during pregnancy remains one of the most preventable causes of infant mortality. Between 2016 and 17, enrollment in the program, My Baby and Me Tobacco-Free Program, and that's what our program is called in the city of Columbus, it increased from 97 to 148 participants. For those program graduates in 2017, 88 remained smoke-free through the baby's first year of life. In 2017, 45 healthy babies were delivered to mothers in the program. Only 3 babies were born less than 37 weeks, and 2 of those babies were twins. Additionally, the Baby and Me Tobacco-Free Program expanded, adding 1 full-time public health nurse and 12 new partnerships. So this is a critical program for reducing infant mortality in our community. And if I don't have any questions or comments, I'm going to move for passage for this legislation.
Please call the row.
Brown, Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Pass.
Thank you. My next ordinance, I'm going to ask a number of people to walk towards the podium. I'm going to start with Cheryl Graffinino, Charles Nabrett, John Boxell, Landon Adams, and I know Michelle White had to leave early due to she had an appointment at 5:30. This legislation is ordinance number 1487-2018. It is to authorize and direct the appropriation of $40,233 within the Neighborhood Initiatives Fund to Columbus Public Health to support initiatives for the Local Food Action Plan and to declare an emergency. And this legislation really will be able to fund 3 different initiatives, well, really actually 4 initiatives. And so I'm going to let Cheryl, who is the manager of our initiatives for the Department of Health for the Local Food Action Plan. And Cheryl, the podium is yours, and then you can introduce our other guests.
Thank you, Councilmember Tyson, Council President Harden, Council President Pro Tem Stenziano, and members of Council. This legislation will provide important resources for projects that directly support the implementation of the Local Food Action Plan that was adopted by this Council in November of 2016. The recommendations that are before you tonight for this funding were recommended by the Columbus and Franklin County Local Food Board, and it includes funding to support a new opportunity for Linden residents to access fresh local food, and it develops new economic opportunities and tools for our local food producers, and also supports an effective local food team at Columbus Public Health to guide the ongoing implementation of this plan. As a result of this legislation, the Farmers Market Management Network, a local nonprofit, will work with the Community of Caring Development Foundation to launch a peak season farmers market in Linden this summer. Opening day will be July 1st, and this funding will support the hiring and training of a market manager, establishing market policies and procedures, SNAP authorization, and produce perks incentives in the first year. These are tools and important resources that sometimes take markets 3 to 5 years to put in place, and this funding will allow this to be up and running in year 1. With just under 5,000 households receiving SNAP benefits in the area, the market will provide a much-needed access point to fresh foods for those living in the neighborhood, and it will also provide market opportunities for local food producers who live in Linden. The farmers markets present an important direct-to-consumer sales opportunity for our local producers. Currently, each market season, at least 40 farmers and producers are turned away from the region's 2 most profitable markets. But other markets in our community are left struggling to attract and retain even a few farmers to come to their markets. This new Linden Farmers Market will act as a pilot for other new and emerging markets. It'll establish a best practice model for developing community-based professional managers, leveraging partnerships, and providing a wide range of services to shoppers. The tools and resources that are developed from this will also be used to help us build a stronger network of SNAP-authorized farmers markets throughout the community. However, building a strong network of farmers markets without strong producers would only be one-sided. So the other piece of this legislation really supports the development of new producers and helping them with the tools that they need to be able to participate in markets. I'm pleased this evening that a few of our outstanding community partners who will carry out this work are with me. Mr. John Boxell and Mr. Landon Adams with the Community of Caring Development Foundation, and Mr. Charles Nabrit with the Greater Columbus Growing Coalition. Mr. Nabrit is also a member of our local food board and serves as the local food board sponsor for our work in the project team that is working to develop a broader local farmers market collaborative. Each of them will tell you a little bit more about why this work is important in their community and how they will measure success. I'll turn it over to Mr. Boxell and Mr. Adams to start.
Good evening to Council. My name is Landon Adams. I will serve as the market manager excuse me, for this new effort. We are excited to be able to be a partner. Of course, at the beginning of this year, you know, Linden was already a kind of food vulnerable location, and then with the closure of Kroger just up the street, really became a food desert. And so we are thankful for this opportunity to be able to partner with you and all the partners to offer not just a place for people to get fresh produce, but a new place for community to gather, to participate, to celebrate together, as well as to provide an opportunity for new growers, community gardens who are in Linden to kind of come to life and come up to standard and expectation. So again, we have about 8 vendors who are committed already to are located in Linden. Our goal is to make sure that 40% of our vendors are from or connected to the Linden area. So again, thank you for your opportunity to partner with you in this great work.
Again, thank you, council members. We are excited about the opportunity for individuals who live, worship, and work in the community to have an opportunity to, again, get access to fresh fruits and produce, and again, make connections within our community. So we're very appreciative of your support and the support of Councilmember Tyson. Thank you.
Good evening, council members. I have the cleanup job, and I also have the tough sell of making soil testing and general liability insurance interesting here at the end. The reason this is so important is because one of the hardest questions for people to answer if they're gardening and trying to make that next step is, do you have general liability insurance? And that is a question you'll be asked whether you're trying to join a farmer's market or sell on site or sell to Kroger or wherever you're trying to sell your produce to. In an effort to make sure that we do not leave out those local producers who may be aspiring to make the next step as far as productivity and distribution go at the Linden Farmers Market, we're trying to provide general liability insurance to all of our partner gardens through the GCGC. This is an undertaking that has taken us a little bit of time to get right, but the way we are managing it is members who are community garden sites, and we have about 215 members. About 50 of those are community gardens. If they have an existing site and address, they will be covered by GCGC's general liability insurance policy so that they'll be able to access those markets and become a larger producer. The reason for the soil testing is because people want to know, is that safe to grow? Even though we have a lot of interest in pop-up gardens and community activism, a lot of times people are concerned that if you're just growing this in the vacant lot, is that safe? OSU Extension does a wonderful job of soil testing. And through this initiative, hopefully we will be able to make that connection a little bit easier for people who want to know what's in your dirt. Generally speaking, the sort of perceived risk is far higher than the actual risk for most of the properties here in Columbus, so rest assured. But it's still nice to be able to tell people, absolutely, this is good, clean dirt. So, thank you.
Thank you. I am very excited about this piece of legislation. Again, the food plan has 4 goals, 27 recommendations, and it is so important that we make sure that when we pass a plan, that we are able to continue to put the resources behind it to make sure that those 27 recommendations are recommendations that are going to be used in this community. And so by funding this initiative, again, it will be in the Linden community. As you've heard, it will also allow that individuals who are currently gardening in Linden will have an opportunity to be able to be at the farmers market. It will also allow some of the 2 largest farmers markets in this community, Clintonville and Worthington, that Mr. Landon Adams will be able to learn from that expertise and be able to move and be able to have this amazing garden that will be farmers market that will be in that community, immediately. And so with John Boxell, I see Adam Troy is in council chambers. Thank you for being here, because this is part of the Community of Caring Development kind of corporation there that's funding this. I see some other members here from the New Salem area, but we also know there's lots of churches that are in that community that will hopefully come after church on a Sunday to this farmers market, and also using the expertise of the 2 largest farmers markets in this community and their vendors to be able to support this year's initiative, and then again to make sure that we are growing in our own communities and being able to make sure that people in our communities have an opportunity to be able to produce foods for farmers markets. And that's why the work that not only is Mr. Nabrett, the president of the Greater Columbus Growing Coalition, he also sits on the Columbus and County Local Food Action Board. And so this is an important initiative. It is a pilot. We know it's going to be successful, and then this is something that certainly can be replicated in some of the other neighborhoods that are having some concerns about having farmers markets. I thank you for your leadership, for us putting this initiative together, and I look forward to the success of this farmers market in the Linden community. So thank you very much, and I ask my colleagues for their support, and I ask for passage of this legislation.
And congratulations, and thank you, Councilmember Tyson, for your leadership. This is right in step with the food action plan that you shepherded through this council and through the city, and we're just grateful for your continued work in support of all the good things out there, especially for the Linden community, for this first example. Please call the roll on 1484, please.
Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Passed.
Thank you.
Thank you. Seeing no more legislation coming for council, I did have someone tell me that we have another Boy Scout in the audience. Is there Jacob? Jacob, will you stand and wave? Jacob is here to earn his citizenship community badge. Well, I hope that we did enough so that you earn that badge. Yes. May I get a motion to adjourn? Please call the roll.
Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Council is adjourned. We'll take non-agenda speakers momentarily. Regular meeting 30 will now come to order. Please call the roll, clerk.
Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Can I get a motion to dispense with the reading of the journal? Please call the roll.
Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
We will now go to the Zoning Committee. Councilmember Tyson chairs this committee. All members serve on the committee. Councilmember, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Before beginning the zoning agenda, I will briefly explain the rules of council as pertaining to speaking before council on zonings and variances. We permit 3 speakers on each side, 3 proponents, 3 opponents, and we ask that they limit their remarks to 3 minutes on each side. And we provide an opportunity for rebuttal from the applicant. On the advice of the City Attorney's Office, we ask that anyone here this evening who wishes to speak either for or against any council variance, including staff, please stand, raise your right hand, and be sworn in. I wish to tell the truth and nothing but the truth. Please answer, I will. Thank you. The first ordinance is 1307-2018. It's to grant a variance from the provisions of sections 3332.039 R4 Residential District, 3332.15 R4 Area District Requirements, 3332.19 Fronting, 3332.26 C1 Minimum Side Yard Permitted, 3332.27 Rear Yard, and 3332.38 F. Private garage of the City of Columbus codes for the property located at 834 Hamlet Street to permit a single-unit dwelling, a carriage house on the rear of a lot developed with a single-unit dwelling with reduced development standards in the R4 residential district. The applicant is Adam Ward and Kristen Boggs, care of Jack Reynolds, attorney Jack Reynolds. The proposed use is 2 single-unit dwellings on 1 parcel. The City Department's recommendation is approval. The Italian Village Commission recommendation was unanimous. And if there is anyone who wants to speak on this ordinance, seeing none, I move to waive second reading.
Brown, Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Waived.
Thank you, and I move for passage.
A second. Is there a second? Second. Please call the roll.
Brown, Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Passed.
Thank you. The next ordinance is 1410-2018 to rezone 104 Larston Lane, being 9.2 plus or minus acres located on the west side of North High Street at the intersection with Delmont Drive from LAR 12 Limited Apartment Residential and LC4 Limited Commercial Districts to LR 12 Limited Apartment Residential and LC4 Limited Commercial Districts. The applicant is Metro Development LLC. The applicant and care of Jill Tangman, the attorney. Proposed use is a multi-unit residential and extended stay hotel development. The City Department's recommendation is approval, and the Far North Columbus Communities Coalition recommendation is approval at 10-0. Is there anyone here to speak on this legislation? Seeing none, I move to waive second reading.
Please call the roll.
Brown, Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Waived.
Thank you, and now I move for passage.
Please call the roll.
Brown, Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Passed.
Thank you. Component legislation is 1411-2018 to grant a variance from the provisions of sections 3333.16, fronting 3333.255 perimeter yard of the Columbus City Codes for property located at 104 Larston Lane to permit reduced development standards for an existing multi-unit residential development and an extended stay hotel development in the LR 12 Limited Apartment Residential District and LC4 Limited Commercial District, respectively, and to repeal ordinance number 0613-2011, passed May 16th of 2011. The applicant again is Metro Development LLC, care of attorney Joe Tangman. The proposed use is a multi-unit residential and extended stay hotel development. The City Department's recommendation is approval, and the Far North Communities Coalition recommendation is approval at 10-0. I move forward to waive second reading.
Please call the roll.
Brown, Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Waived.
Thank you. I move for passage.
Please call the roll.
Brown, Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Pass.
Thank you. I have ordinance 1415-2018 to rezone 6500 Tussing Road, being 34 acres located at 330 feet north of Tussing Road and 900 feet east of Bryce Road from CPD Commercial Plan Development District to LM Manufacturing District. The applicant is Benderson Development Company LLC, care of attorney Jill Tangman. The proposed use is limited manufacturing or industrial development. The City Department's recommendation is approval. The Far East Area Commission's recommendation is approval at 10-0. I first move to waive second reading.
Please call the roll.
Brown, Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Waived.
Thank you. I now move to amend as submitted to the clerk.
Please call the row.
Brown, Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Amended.
Thank you, and I now move for passage.
Please call the row.
Brown, Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Passed.
Thank you. The next ordinance is 1432-2018 to grant a variance from the provisions of Section 3356.03C4 permitted uses for the property located at 2771 Indianola Avenue to permit a single-unit dwelling in the C4 Commercial District. I'm sorry. The applicant is Jeffrey Hartnett. The proposed use is a single-unit dwelling. The City Department's recommendations approval and the Clintonville Area Commission's recommendations approval at 9-0. Is anyone here to speak on this? Seeing none, I move to waive second reading.
Please call the row.
Brown, Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Waived.
Thank you, and now I move for passage.
Please call the row.
Brown, Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Passed.
Thank you. I now have ordinance number 1448-2018 to grant a variance to the provisions of sections 3323.19 uses of the Columbus City Code to the property located at 548 West State Street to permit, now this is going to be, wait one second, we're going to make an adjustment here. It is, this is going to be amended to the 1,500 feet. Is that right, Mr. Hodge? Okay. So, hold on, can we just, wait one second.
That's okay.
Thank you for your indulgence here as we make this change here. Okay. So, I'm going to read this as is. To grant a variance from provisions of section 3323.19 uses of the Columbus City Codes for the property located at 548 West State Street to permit a 1,200 square foot eating and drinking establishment within a mixed-use building in the EF East Franklinton District. The applicant is Oxide Real Estate Development, care of David Hodge, attorney. The proposed use is an eating and drinking establishment. The City Department's recommendation is approval, and the Franklinton Commission's recommendation is approval. Do we need to have a staff presentation on this? Because now we have a speaker.
Good evening. The site is undeveloped and is located within the Dodge Park subdistrict of the East Franklinton District. The Dodge Park subdistrict permits predominantly residential uses with very limited commercial uses. And this requested variance will permit, the request is actually going to grant a 1,500 square foot eating and drinking establishment as approved by the East Franklinton Review Board. The proposal originally was submitted as 1,200 square feet, but when they had their meeting with the East Franklinton Review Board, the board wanted to give them a little bit more flexibility since they didn't know exactly how large this eating and drinking establishment would be. And unfortunately, that information wasn't captured into the ordinance when I drafted it. So the staff is in support of the increase to 1,500 square feet. That will be on the lower level of a mixed-use building containing about 13 apartment units. The East Franklinton Community District Plan recommends medium-density mixed-use residential development for the Dodge Park subdistrict, And that plan also recognizes that each district within East Franklinton should incorporate a diverse mix of land uses. The Planning Division originally had some concerns with setting a precedent for commercial development in the sub-district, but given the prominent corner location of the site in relation to the West Broad Street and Arts and Innovation sub-districts, where eating and drinking establishments are permitted, staff was, and the fact that the East Franklinton Review Board supported the request, staff was ultimately okay with this request. And a certificate of approval, I believe, was already granted for the building, and if it hasn't, it will be required by the East Franklinton Review Board. So therefore, staff's recommendation is for approval, and I would be happy to answer any additional questions you have. Thank you.
Thank you. And Ms. Pine, and again, when the approval was from the Franklinton Area Commission's it was for the 1,500 square feet, correct?
That is correct, yes.
Thank you. And is there a presentation or statement from the attorney? All right, thank you, Mr. Hodge. And now we have a speaker, Mr. Walter Reiner from the Area Commission. Good evening. So on your slip, you have a check mark for and a check mark against.
Well, that's not that I'm trying to speak out of both sides of my mouth, but I was ambivalent. I'm taking from South Linden. I'm not very cultured, so I don't know how to pronounce those big words. But at any rate, just wanted to check up on this because we have a massive project just north of there. We're doing it with your municipal corporation. We're restoring that Franklinton log post office and creating the multi-million-dollar Franklinton Village to create jobs in Franklinton and a sense of pride in Franklinton. So naturally, with that kind of investment, we're kind of watching what's going on around us. So that's why I checked either way. But one thing I was going to say is I didn't get anything until I got this city council notice. Perhaps I'm confused. Is the East Franklinton Review Board required to send notices to property owners?
I don't believe the city code requires that. So that's the planning division staffs, the East Franklinton Review Board. I do not believe that they send notices, but they do post their agendas in the city bulletin and on their website.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe I'm behind a little bit because it used to be they'd send the zoning notices if you went to a area commission to the surrounding property owners. Maybe that's a little different here now, or particularly different for this area. Just wanted to make sure I understood everything here. So at any rate, our project is moving ahead. We put a 300 to 500 year life on the Franklinton 1807 log post office known as the David Deerdorf House, probably the most expensive building per square foot in Columbus, Ohio. So it's built to last. So as a longtime developer in Columbus and other areas, I just thought I'd say we're happy that your municipal corporation's working with us on that, and we have got it pretty much wrapped up there, so it should be around much longer than me. Okay? So at any rate, this looks like a very high-density thing. He's got his restaurant in there. It is a corner. And he's got, 13 apartment units. It's a pretty small site. So the question we'd have is, they're pretty flexible in this East Franklinton group, apparently, so that's refreshing. But he would have a need for parking on street, I think, so that would be some concern to us, because we're going to have a need for a lot of parking too. So, but I wouldn't be wanting to gore anybody's ox as a fellow developer, so that would be our only concern there. So we're glad to see that we would have a neighbor there, and hopefully they'd build something very nice. So as I said, I'm sort of ambivalent about it. So that's what we're talking about here. So we're very happy to see more people following our lead in Franklinton. Imitation is the finest thing about flattery, you know. So hopefully a lot of other people will follow us into the neighborhood. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Rainier, and appreciate your developing in the Franklinton community. Attorney Hodge, would you like to come up, please, and do and respond to Mr. Rainier's comments, please?
Sure. Thank you. I'm David Hodge with the law firm Underhill & Hodge, 8000 Walton Parkway, Suite 260, New Albany, Ohio, 43054. Here this evening on behalf of the applicant and the contract purchaser of the property. We're appreciative of the willingness to address the amendment. When we went through the process, East Franklinton Board offered to give us a little flexibility and increase this up to 1,500 square feet. This has been approved for zoning purposes with the East Franklinton Review Board, but it has not yet been approved for the aesthetics. So we have to go back and prove the architecture and ultimately have a certificate of appropriateness issued on that basis, which is why we can't really particularly specify the square footage of the restaurant at this point. All four corners of this sort of jagged intersection are vacant. This is going to be really a great use of the corner. If you can think of what we envision this first floor restaurant to be, it's something like the Brown Bag Deli in German Village, really just a neighborhood oriented, very low intensity neighborhood commercial use. That's really what the intention is. And we are here this evening before council as was noted with a staff recommendation of approval, Franklinton Area Commission recommendation of approval unanimously, and the Franklinton Review Board approval unanimously as well. With reference to parking, there's flexibility built into the East Franklinton overlay with parking. We did request a reduction to the parking, which the code allows the East Franklinton Board to approve, which they did. We have committed to provide some market rate parking in the neighborhood to tenants in the future. There will be, and there is today, ample on-street parking, but we have a commitment to the East Franklinton Review Board to provide some market rate parking in the neighborhood to tenants in the future. And I'm happy to answer any other questions.
Thank you. Attorney Hodge, any questions from my colleagues? Thank you. Again, thank you, Mr. Reiner, for coming down this evening and sharing your comments. And so I first would like to waive second reading.
Second. Please call the roll.
Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Waived.
Thank you. Amend as submitted to the clerk.
Please call the roll.
Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Amended.
Thank you. I move for passage.
Please call the roll.
Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Pass.
Thank you. The next ordinance is 1460-2018 to rezone 1505 North 4th Street, being .09 acres located on the west side of North 4th Street, 150 feet south of East 11th Avenue, from C4 Commercial District to R4 Residential District. The applicant is Julie Bullock. Architects, the proposed use is a 3-unit dwelling. The City Department's recommendation is approval, and the University Area Commission's recommendation is approval from 12 to 0. Are there any speakers on this ordinance? Seeing none, I move to waive second reading.
Please call the roll.
Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Waived.
Thank you. I move for passage.
Please call the roll.
Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Pass.
Thank you. And the final ordinance in zoning this evening is 1461-2018 to grant a variance from the provisions of sections 3325.241 D and E, building design standards, and 3332.25 maximum side yard required of the Columbus City Codes for the property located at 1503 and 1505 North 4th Street to permit a 3-unit dwelling with reduced development standards in the R4 residential district. The applicant is Julie Bullock Architects. The proposed use is a 3-unit dwelling. The City Department's recommendation is approval, and the University Area Commission's recommendation is approval at 12 to 0. I move to waive second reading.
Please call the roll.
Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Waived.
Thank you. I move for passage.
Please call the row.
Brown, Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Passed.
Thank you. That's all I have in zoning this evening.
Any further business coming before council? Seeing none, can I get a motion to adjourn? Please call the row.
Brown, Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
This meeting is adjourned. Thank you. Have a good evening.